cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing.
Oh, hey folks, Dude here. Coming out again, an iteration of Dude After Dark. This one, of course, is going to be the abbreviated form because I'm doing it on my smartphone. Why am I doing it on the smartphone? Because the computer is acting a little weird, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just simply going to just do it using the telecommunications device, of which primarily everybody's running around. Just simply use the phone. So obviously that's what I'm doing. One of my clone Note 9s, of which I have several, is actually the one that I'm going to be utilizing today to simply just knock out and do the podcast. So that's what we're going to from this one, and I am now trying to do several things at once, because now I'm looking at a computer monitor behind the phone, and actually also still watching my other phone, which is monitoring the fact that obviously I still work the day job, quote unquote, day-night job, call it what you will. Essentially doing those things that I have to do to earn my living, I guess. I don't know. I mean, basically it's what I do. I do things on the interwebs, as it were, and I actually do, Uber primarily, but, that's basically the namesake, the way we have to do things. So hopefully you guys are hearing me, seeing me, and all the good stuff like that there. So I'll be monitoring the chat on the live YouTube broadcast, and obviously be doing the actual live broadcast on my phone. Now, I can tell you for a fact, the way it looks on the YouTube, and of course there's that lag time, of which they call latency. Literally, when you do something real time, it's how long it takes to go through the mix before you're seeing it on the actual device that's now on the internet. Now, I can tell you for a fact, my picture on the phone looks really, really flippin' dark, but on the actually on the YouTube page itself looks perfectly fine. So we're gonna go with that. Hopefully you guys are hearing okay audio. I do have this running on an external microphone, so hopefully good stuff like that there. You guys are seeing me. Doesn't look real sketch, and obviously things are working out okay. Now, obviously, I know we did have, the 2-week time period where we are completely out of it, so that's literally where we are now, coming back in from the fray, and no, not sound guy, no, not ding, okay? We're not looking for ding, we are looking for other things. We're not looking for quack. Okay. No, that's not it either. Let me drop the volume level just a touch. I think what it is I changed the settings on my computer speaking, so... No, my computer speakers. Sound guy. Stop. Sound guy, you sick little monkey. Okay, well... We're now looking at sound guy doing sound guy stuff. I see I got a couple people in the room. Let me know if the sound is okay or if it sounds completely just, done. I really can't monitor it right now because if I turn the sound back on YouTube on the home computer, you'll be hearing me speaking, and then it'll go, sometime later you'll see me, it's called latency. So literally real time versus how long it takes for the thing to go through the system, and then for the whatever it was to get transmitted to actually be heard, air quotes, live. All right, so let me jump into it, a good fray like that there, and hopefully sound guy will keep himself in check and not be going completely,
The name's James.
Sound guy, stop with the quacks, okay? Anyway, so moving out smartly, this one, of course, being posted up a while ago, obviously, because we had our 2-week interlude where we had Christmas, New Year's, and all the rest of that stuff. So, salutations and belated greetings in all those regards. So, in any way, shape, or form, hopefully you guys are seeing me, hearing me, and is not too terribly terrible. But anyway, looking at things as it is in the scheme of things, there was a story posted up, truthpress.com, on the 11th, mind you. Sorry. Essentially, what it was is there's now been a amount of poop handed off to Fulton County Superior Court has now handed off a handful of poop, if not a handful, maybe more like a truckload, to District Attorney Fannie Willis in default for refusing to hand over the documents in an open records lawsuit. Now, she's the one that basically went after Trump, played the games, and now she's getting maybe her poo-poo slapped. So, yeah. So she refused to answer the public records lawsuit, seeking records of her communications with special counsel Jack Smith, who also resigned. ATF guy also resigned. Rats off a sinking ship when you have a new administration come into play and these guys are seeing their asses maybe in a sling. They're bailing out, man. Just give me 1 second here. Tiggy juice. It's cold, but it's Tiggy juice. If you could guys get into the chat room and let me know how things are sounding. I mean, I am actually cheating with an external mic. So, that's just how it is. So I might cheat a little bit here for 1 second. Tiggy juice. Okay, so it is actually okay. A little muffled, but it's okay. It's an external microphone that's currently running off the phone. So, you'll be getting me in all the monotone goodness and, sound guy, stop. Sound guy, stop. Anyway. So all that luscious goodness known as the online sound goodness, sound guy is doing it and, in only the way, shape that he can. Oh, so you're saying you'd be in the jailhouse now and dealing with,
I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me!
No, sound guy. Sound guy. No, it would not be Mr. Meeseeks in the jail room. You'd be getting, you'd be getting something else in the jail room that you don't really want. It would not be, no, you wouldn't make a noise. You would not be making noises like that if you went to the jailhouse and met Mr. Yeah, you'd be getting it, high, hard, and, yeah, exactly. Okay, Patriot Fever in the room. Patriot, Little Patriot 4, Patriot Bunny. What's a Patriot Bunny? Reporting from the liberal ninth frozen circle of Princeganistan. I mean, hell. Yeah, it is cold in the Midwest, man. You guys are definitely really, okay, it's flipping cold. I get it, sound guy, okay? It's flipping cold. Anyway, what could you be saying about weather like that? But, no, it's not Joe Kaka anymore. Kaka is out the door, so we can use... That's right, we can use Kaka freely because in 13 days, Joe Kaka will be,
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Okay, so Kaka falling in and can't get up. All right, anyway, 2 more weeks, and Sound Guy will need to relocate the mics from Kamala's playroom. God. Yeah, it's definitely Kaka. It's not spicy. That's... Oh, man, that's just like the Raggedy Ann doll that went through the wood chipper. It's just not good. Anyway, so basically she played games, got her butt handed to her, and now they are really starting to stomp on her, and it's going to be quite interesting. Scroll. Oh, yeah, okay. Getting into another news story, U.S. Supreme Court voted unanimously on December 10 that federal courts may not review the federal government's decision to invoke an immigration visa. Interesting. So basically, these guys are playing these little foo-foo games. It's not going to work. And the court's 9-0 opinion in Bouarfa, B-O-U-A-R-F-A, Bouarfa, versus Mayorkas was written by Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. The respondent is the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. Basically, he got his butt slapped. He's not going to be able to play these games any longer. So I've found that by 7 days of posting the usage of the word to describe a puppy mother or a female dog, supposedly Facebook could jump on it with both feet and give me a 7-day off. Well, there's other news stories coming down the pike about, Zucker, that mother Zucker. He's got some news stories coming out now about the fact checkers and all the rest of that crap. So the whole thing about it now is it's coming out to be that they were so beholden by the Biden White House to make them do these things that they really truly didn't want to do. So I call it complete and total Bravo Sierra, because these guys literally could have told the federal government to get stuffed, and they could have outed them when called upon to do
Fact check.
Yeah, that's right. Because, talking about the
Draw shots.
and of course utilizing the
Fact check.
we didn't have to worry so much about do we have a timeout? No, we always had to worry about getting a timeout, because we were speaking about the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
yeah, and of course with that little P meow in charge, he was allowing the fact checkers, who is now coming out to be very, very interesting information, who was funding the fact checkers. Look that story up. It's quite interesting. This one, of course, being another one of those kind of sucky things, me being a science wonk and a space guy, this one posted up on December 18. Truth Press, the NASA astronauts will remain in space until at least March, to yet another delay. Why? Well, because that Boeing spacecraft wasn't trusted to get live human beings from orbit and down to planet Earth. I think it can be said right now very plainly, Boeing, you guys got to get your ass together, because you're screwing it up on planet Earth and in space. That takes doing. That really takes doing. So these guys are now hung out to dry, but I think it's going to be called upon for Elon and SpaceX to play space taxi to get these guys home, because these poor schmucks are stuck carrying NASA's water with a glorious F-chuck up yet again with your taxpayer dollars. Yipes. Now, that's the other thing, too, is also, if you know the long and short, and of course the straight line poop on things, the ISS, or the International Space Station, is coming towards the end of service life. Just give me 1 second here. For the very simple reason is it's had, long time, years of wear and tear. Now, the thing that most people really truly don't realize about anything that's in orbit is obviously it's going to experience unusual wear, and it's going to have things encountering it that you just don't get on Earth. So obviously you're inside Earth's atmosphere, you're inside the Van Allen belts, or those two magnetic belts that protect us from the majority of, the solar radiation that would just flat out cook us like bugs under a microscope, or I'm sorry, a magnifying glass. So the things that are up above a certain orbit level, they're in more space and less Van Allen belt, and they're catching all kinds of radiation. They're catching all kinds of electromagnetic flux, solar winds, space stuff, micrometeorites, just junk in general, and all that stuff is literally impacting all these things that are currently in orbit. Now, they actually did do an experiment some years ago. They built a satellite, and it literally was a non-functioning satellite to any great degree, but it was literally a device that was covered with all kinds of materials. And they said, okay, we're going to put this thing up in orbit, and we're going to, for lack of a better term, we're going to let it, air quotes, rust. And that's literally what they did. And they found out some paints are more better than others, some materials are better than others, and some stuff they put up there literally just got eaten alive by space termites. Read like all that radiation and all that harsh atmosphere that it was going to be encountering of read zero atmosphere, but solar radiation, electromagnetic flux. There is actually some impact with air up there. When you go that high up, yes, there still is air, but it's very, very low density, but it's still running into things, and oxygen is an oxidizer. Translation, it, air quotes, rusts things. It contributes to the breakdown of things. Obviously, there's nitrogen that's getting impacted upon that, hydrogen, helium, all kinds of other solar winds, all that stuff is up there, and it does its damage. So, They put it up there in orbit for a set period in time, and they let it go through the worst of the worst it's going to ever encounter. Then they spent a space shuttle mission to pick it up, put it in the cargo bay, fly it back home, drop it off at NASA, and they literally charitably packaged this thing up in such a way that they took it out of the space shuttle and they go, okay, it's now been set up in such a way that we now can see what it looks like out of space down here, so we can check it out and see how all these things broke down. Natalie, influence of Natalie on... Okay, I'm going to have to see that in larger font. The influence of Natalie on Boris's... Natalie on Boris's codes? What are you talking about? Patriot Bunny is Little Patriot's fourth project, but it's below freezing, so we brought it in. Nurse Patriot isn't home tonight. Okay. Well, what do you mean by the influence of Natalie on Boris's codes? It's like, are you talking about like Boris and Natasha? Like the Russian agents on like Bullwinkle Moose or something. Anyway, so essentially they brought this thing in, and they saw all the things that were greatly affected and all the things that stood up to the test of time in space. Now, those things obviously is what they built the ISS out of. However, every 90 minutes, the space station literally goes around the planet. It goes through dark, it goes through night, it goes through heat, it goes through cold, and it experiences every 90 minutes a hot and a cold cycle. So you figure 90 minutes in the course of a day, it goes around how many times it's experiencing all that stress level. Oh, Bond Goldeneye, Boris. Okay, got it, thanks. Yeah, so anyway, it's experiencing all this stress, all this harsh surroundings, and it's wear and tear. So literally this thing's been impacted for, how many years it's been up in space. Obviously, it's been involved in how many micrometeorites crashing into it. Obviously the solar panels are probably taking bazillions of hits. I can't imagine how many times that thing's probably been hit over the years. Just give me 1 second. So anyway, it's coming to the point where there's going to be a system crash or just a wear out system, or just it's getting to the point where the seals are leaking too much. And they're going to see it as not quite maybe inhospitable. They're going to see it maybe as just unsafe to utilize for human occupation beyond a certain date. It's just simple wear and tear. And the situation they're in is they come to a point in time where they say, okay, this thing is literally unsafe to fly. Bugger out with all the technology that we possibly need to bring with us. The rest of it is going to go into Point Nemo. Now, hopefully I can kind of show this to you guys, but let me find this on the phone real fast. I'll cheat. Point Nemo map. So Point Nemo is the farthest point in the ocean from land, located at coordinates 48 minutes, 52 seconds, and 0.6 south by 123, 23 minutes by 6 degrees west in the South Pacific Ocean. Now, to show you where this thing is, it is literally like absolutely in the middle, truly, of nowhere. It is like 2,500 miles minimum to try to even find like anything even slightly close to any kind of, human interaction. Let's see here if I can't cheat this real fast. But it is literally a hole in nowhere where this thing actually is. It is literally out in the middle of nowhere. So if you look at it on the map, it's like the end of one country, the end of another country, the west side of another country, and the northeast corner of another. But what they have here is, it is literally, maybe there's a better map here. Let me try this one real fast. Yeah, let's try this one. So the dot would be Point Nemo. That's literally where this thing is. It's literally like the tip of Africa, way east of Australia, and north, obviously, of Antarctica. But it is the most desolate area on planet Earth. Now, to show you how far away from everything else this thing is, if you're on a boat that's in the middle of Point Nemo, the closest human being that you're going to encounter is literally going to be the guy passing overhead on the ISS 200 some odd miles up. That is literally going to be the closest human being that you're going to encounter in Point Nemo. So, this area is literally out in the middle of nowhere. It's referred to in ocean parlance as a dead zone. There's no fish there. There's no critters there because there's just nothing there. Most of the time that you're going to be encountering any kind of ocean life, they stay within a couple hundred miles of any shore because that's literally where the food is. So the only time these guys actually go from point A to point B is when they're doing their great, we're going from here to there because the weather's warmer over there, the weather's cooler over there. So they do, the grand tour of the world's oceans, and they do that like once a year. But when you're in Point Nemo, there's literally nothing there. It's also very, very deep. So if you take like an expended space object and you make it land in Point Nemo, there's nothing there but other space objects that they landed previously in Point Nemo. It is literally a desolate area out in the middle of nowhere that is pretty much a space junkyard. So they can land the stuff safely, crash it into the ocean, and know that nobody is going to have to worry about this thing crashing through their roof, which has happened before. Just give me 1 second. So literally crashing this stuff into Point Nemo is going to be where the ISS eventually winds up. That said, there's also the pissing match on planet Earth between us and Russia and China and all these other guys. But the ISS pretty much was a handshake thing that was set up between Russia and the United States. Literally, there's modules up there that are strictly Russian modules. And there's literally other modules up there that were assembled, obviously one from the United States, one from Japan, obviously, the U.S. Space Administration going, hey, European guys, you want to set up a module. So all these countries contributed modules, plugged them all together like big Lego blocks. And obviously there's the spine and all the other Lego blocks that are then plugged in and all the rest of that stuff. And that became the ISS. Obviously there's a couple Russian modules up there. And all these things are now stuck together, and they're now in concert cruising around the Earth every 90 minutes. Well, all those heat and cold cycles and all those years of being banged around in microgravity. It's not true zero gravity because it's too close to the planet. But microgravity, it has been exposed to the worst of situations possible. Wear and tear, the thing's getting old. It is literally almost time to simply just, basically give it a final salute and watch it come burning in to just go bloop. And that's going to be the end of it. Patriot Fever. Yeah, that last one in the chat room, very tempting. But we do have closer things here. And I suggest that we have a new Olympic competition. And I would suggest high diving for points into an active volcano. That's going to be my best suggestion on how to handle this. We simply just suggest that they do high dives into a live volcano, and they'll be scored for splash, how long they can stay under, how long they cook, how long they gurgle, and of course, the expulsion therein of desiccated, carcass after the fact. If they get themselves down to a denuded skeleton, extra points. Let's see. Scrolly. Now, I've owned both of these brands, and I actually still own one of these brands. But there's a news story now coming out, and China is literally scared to death if this comes out to be something that comes out to be as something that actually does have happen. But there's now talk, and it's been kind of like nudge by the Japanese government that, hey, maybe this really, truly needs to have happen, is they're now nudging Honda and Nissan to merge. Just give me 1 second here. And the reason being is Japan literally does not want any car company to fail. Now, on the cusp of these things, you could say generically Mitsubishi really not doing good. Like literally, I remember there's a Mitsubishi dealership not too far from me, and in the progression of maybe like 2 or 3 months, it went from a not full, car lot to maybe 10 cars. Maybe. The other thing too is also Mitsubishi's discontinued. They're very, very kind of almost kind of almost like end of the run, kind of like entry level car where it's pretty much just, it's really basic. I mean, it's like, crank windows on the bottom rung, crank windows, 3-cylinder engine, bottom rung. It's about as bottom rung as you're going to get, with the exception of like a rear view camera, which is mandated. You got to have a rear view camera. That car's been discontinued. Now, on the Nissan side of things, their bottom rung car, which is a bottom rung Sentra with manual transmission, I think this is the last year they're going to be producing it. That car is going to be going by the wayside. So, essentially, I've seen a couple of videos about it. So, if you want to buy a brand new car for like $16K, that's your car. And pretty basic, doesn't have Apple CarPlay, doesn't have, the Android car thing. It does actually have like an aux cord and USB and, and some other minor things, but it's really pretty basic. I mean, this thing in 5th gear really needs a 6th gear, because in 5th gear, it's kind of like the good old days where you're driving cars back in the 80s where you're on the highway and it's just, because, not a lot of horsepower. It's trying to make the best of what it's got, and it's just screaming. Anyway, let's see. Scroll in the room. Zach Sector, I've been watching you for like 15 years. Dude, thank you so much for coming by and check me out, man. I try to do a weekly podcast on Tuesday starting at like 8:55 Eastern Standard Time. So I've been doing podcasts for a while now. Once in a while I'll do a video, but YouTube is just really, really hard to get views on now. And it's also like really not very good for supplying, people who subscribe to you long-term updates. And they're really, really bad about kicking like, subscribers out. Like there's been people that I've followed for bloody damn near forever. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what this guy's up to. And I go to the channel. I'm like, wait a minute. Why do I have to resubscribe? Yeah, because I got booted out by YouTube because they're like, well, this channel's not doing anything, so we're just going to kick you loose. Never mind the fact that there's another channel with like 0 content I've been subscribed to for like maybe like 5 or 6 years, and it still sends me updates about these guys. Hey, this guy went out and scratched his butt. It's like, what? No, come on. I want to know about the other guys that are like, long-term YouTube friends. Those are the guys I want to see and, find out about. Not some guy that doesn't put out any, has a 0 content channel. That's just a subscriber to me, which is still cool, and I appreciate, any attention I get from these guys. But the long and the short is I'm looking for content. I want to see stuff coming out, and I want to watch stuff that's coming out, because people have some interesting stuff to say. The larger channels that are really kind of formulaic, it gets really kind of annoying sometimes. Like literally 3 channels that I'm subscribed to, literally all 3 of these channels said, hey, here's the new OnePlus blah, blah, blah. All of them on the same day. Literally all of them on the same day put out the same phone review. And they're all big channels. So, they'll get like, a couple 100,000 views minimum for any of their videos. Some of them tend to get like, minimum millions of views for each of their videos. But for all 3 of these channels to put out a, hey, check out this phone. And literally the biggest problem is the phone that they put out is a Chinese brand that I would never, ever, ever buy. Why? Because they snoop too much. That's why I'm running archivally or I'm not giving it up anytime soon, a Samsung Note 9 that does not have AI going, let me check out everything you're doing and snoop and, nose up your butt trying to figure out everything you're doing to try to, corral you into buying crap that you really truly don't need by snooping on your every word or where you go on the internet or whom you're, just conversing with and what you're doing and all these things. It's really truly annoying the way that they do these things with this technology. I'm not a fan of AI going, hey, let me work the algorithms here and try to do all this stuff and try to figure out who you're doing it with whom and why you're doing it. And then say you crap that you really, truly don't need because you talked about it. Well, anyway, this is a story quoted in from BBC.com. Honda and Nissan are holding merger talks. And it's understood to held exploratory talks about the potential merger to help them compete against electric vehicle makers, particularly in China. Okay, here's the thing. What if you're inserting the EV market artificially into a country that really truly doesn't want to have EV technology? I can tell you for a fact, most third world nations, they're perfectly fine running on petrochemicals. For these guys to put up charging stations in the middle of East Armpit, blah, 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 it's not going to have happen. So for them to try to utilize electric vehicles, it's just not going to work. It truly is just not going to work for a lot of places that are way too spread out or very temperate. And the technology, of course, to have the charging stations, they take a lot of power. The grid in California will absolutely flipping melt trying to keep up with a huge influx of EV vehicles replacing conventional internal combustion vehicles. It will not do well. So in March, the two Japanese car companies agreed to place and explore a strategic partnership for EVs. Honda doesn't really do EVs. Honda does hybrids. However, I guess Nissan, because they make the Leaf and they have other technology that kind of might be like a carryover, and Nissan can go, hey Honda, check out this technology. You guys could install that, have that in your vehicles, and maybe utilize it. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So the firms responded to the BBC with identical statements, which said, quote, as announced in March this year, Honda and Nissan are exploring various possibilities for future collaboration, leveraging each other's strengths. Okay, when you really truly want to get down to it, Honda doesn't need to leverage any strengths. They're still a solid seller in the United States. They don't need to make EVs. They do sell an EV vehicle, but it's not even theirs. Literally, it's a rebadged GM product, and you open up the door, and you look into the door patch, and it says GM. It does not say made by Honda. It says made by GM, sold by Honda. Yeah, that's kind of like what Honda did years ago when they were selling the Rodeo. And the Rodeo was a rebadged Isuzu truck. Kind of almost sort of equivalent to like a, maybe closer to like a RAV4, but it did have a slant back. So maybe it was even closer to say maybe it was like a better version of like a Chevy Blazer, like the small Chevy Blazers, like the S10s, or it was basically like a mid-sized truck, but it actually was pretty well built, and they did okay selling those. Isuzu made money, Honda made money, and really all they had to do was rebadge it by putting some stuff on it to say, this says Honda, it doesn't say Isuzu any longer. So literally that's when that one came from, and good stuff like that there. Just give me 1 second here. I don't know. No, I'm not doing that one. So I'm having like ride requests come up, and that one's just a little early. I'm not doing that. Early, like as soon as I get done with the podcast, I wouldn't even be able to make it out the door. Anyway, so these guys are now saying, we're thinking of joining arms and trying to keep each other afloat. And I don't know. If anything, it's going to be supporting Nissan rather than supporting Honda. Honda pretty much does just fine by itself. It's still an active brand. People buy a lot of their stuff. And in terms of reliability, most people go, well, let's see, what's looking at the technology here of, okay stuff. Usually most people go Honda and Toyota. And maybe not necessarily in that order, because Toyota really truly has the reputation for, absolutely dead on reliability, but they have slipped in the last few years. Yeah, exactly, Zach Sector. Talk to somebody in person about something that you watch, and your Facebook ads about what you're talking about. Yeah, that's one of those things too. It's really annoying. So literally, all those things is a settings thing. You can go into your Chrome or you can go into your YouTube, and you literally turn off your history, you turn off your ad preference, you turn all that crap off. And then, of course, you make sure your phone doesn't have AI, so it doesn't go, oh, this is the kind of crap he was talking about. I'm going to try to sell him this stuff. Yeah, really, truly annoying. But yeah, Zach, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've had many people complain about that. I was just talking about so-and-so, and it started showing me ads. It's like, yeah, I've heard that many times. So anyway, hopefully Honda props up Nissan. I don't know. They've stopped making kind of cool stuff. Supposedly 2024 was the last year of the GTR. The 400Z, I really truly don't know where that car is going to go. If they're going to continue that one, or they're going to go, oh, no, hang on a second. It's a hybrid now. Okay, Nissan, sports enthusiasts don't go, yeah, I want a hybrid hot rod. They don't do that. Ask Honda about that when they made the CRZ. It was basically, it's a good body. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with the CRZ body. It's literally the latter form therein of a CRX. The only problem is they gave it like some little amount of horsepower, and they said, no, it's so much better because it has this hybrid power plant. Okay, if you give it 140 horsepower, and then you give it a 50 horsepower EV motor, and then the EV motor is really peppy for like about 10 minutes, and then it runs out of juice, that's not a performance vehicle. That's at best a car with a faulty turbocharger. And that's literally what happened to BMW when they built the i8. The i8 was a 3-cylinder with okay horsepower, but they're like, oh, no, this is a sports grand tourer. And it kind of was until the batteries went flat, and then you're putting around going, I wish this thing had more juice. But it didn't, because it was relying on the EV setup to give it additional to make it a hot rod hybrid, of which it failed miserably. Notice those didn't sell for very long. And the ones that are currently for sale, they're not way expensive any longer because, oh yeah, BMW was like, yeah, well, we're not selling those any longer. That's on you to try to keep the things running. Let's see. Scroll. Oh, Patriot Fever. There is a video on YouTube, and it's not Uncle Tony, although Uncle Tony really rips the new Charger a new one. It's Rich Rebuilds, and they actually invited, because Rich is a major EV guy. He's actually got a couple garages that work expressly on Teslas and other EVs, and they're repair facilities. They're actually guys that work for Tesla and now are in a private shop or maintaining Teslas and keeping them running, and they know them backwards and forwards, and they get the parts and they do it right and all the rest of that fun stuff. But Rich literally had the opportunity where Dodge was like, hey, with Thor's hammer, we want you to come in here and drive this unbelievably, amazing EV sports car. And the first thing they did was they brought him into a room and they turned it on, and then here is the simulated exhaust, and it's going, and it sounds like a bad video game engine noise. I do mean it's like really like that strange kind of computer polyphonic thing where it kind of goes, and the engine's going, so it's like those two sounds mixed together. And first time when you fire it up, it almost sounds like a Jetson driving by, kind of one of those little things. But when you start it up, it sounds so wrong, and then the engine note is really, really wrong. So they were like, oh, no, this is so amazing. And, that's not the other thing. It's like, guys, you just went from 717 horsepower, and then with the 170, I think it was like 1,000 and change. And you're trying to show this thing off as saying, yeah, man, 500 horsepower, 4-wheel drive, EV with X amount of range, but you only have to charge it at these places instead of those places. That is not a sell for your standard hot rodder guy who's going to be like, yeah, man, I wanted to get into something. I get low on gas. I hit the gas station, fill it up in 5 minutes, roll down the road. No, it takes 45 minutes to get this thing up to 70%. That's not enthralling when you basically made 3 or 4 passes down the drag strip and the thing's like, I need to recharge. Find a charge station. That is not going to be right there for the hot rod guys. Imagine the pit stops if NASCAR goes EV. Wow. I literally have seen a demonstration of F1 EV or something along those lines. It just sounded like a leaf blower going by. Me. It was like the most pitiful. You hear more tire noise. There's more tire noise as it's making turns rather than the engine note, which everybody wants to hear at an F1 race. They want to hear these things screaming by and, of course, loud, raucous noise and all the rest of that fun stuff. That's what people go to car races for. They don't want to see a bunch of vacuum cleaners driving around, on battery packs. It's, you make an EV stop and everybody's plugging in batteries. Yeah, that's not what they wanted to see, okay? NASCAR, if it goes EV, you're going to see so many rednecks going, you know what? I can sit at home and drink light beer. I don't have to come here. Scrolly. I got so many memes in here. I got to be really, really careful about. Uh, this one being very, 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 very interesting. Mostly speaking about things where we don't have to worry about the.
Fact check.
Oh no, because we can talk openly about the.
The Chinese Communist COVID viral infection. Got shot.
Without worrying about a.
Fact check.
Absolutely, no more of that. No, none of that. We don't have to worry about the.
Fact check.
Okay, so people who haven't even received a case of COVID. Yale researchers have found COVID spike proteins in the blood of people who have never been infected by COVID years after they received the.
Got shot.
That's right. So people went out and got the jab are now testing positive for COVID. Oops. So the Yale team's going to publish the findings soon. Found that the proteins in the blood of people who received the COVID mRNA shots up to 2 years after they received the jabs. So, supposedly the spike proteins intended to help you fight off the Chinese Communist covert viral infection, and you get the clot shot and all the rest of that fun stuff. So those people are now testing positive for these things after they said that the shot would keep you from getting it. Oops. Oops. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but this guy, I have never liked this guy. Excuse me one second, I need a second swig. This guy has been a Trump-hating, butt-sucking piece of sound guy. How would you say this? He's just been a
Juggling thunder.
a bagok juggling thunder meow. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He's one of those. Yeah, he's a rooster vacuum. He's just, yeah, he's one of those guys. Anyway, so supposedly Neil Cavuto has been booted from Fox News after being there for almost 30 years. Why? Because I think they offered him a pay raise, which was not a pay raise. They simply said, this is what we're offering, take it or leave it. And he said, I'm going to tap out. I'm out of here. Well, you know what? I never liked this guy. I always thought it was basically a sanctimonious news puke. And his obvious Trump hatred on the Fox News network? Dude, no, bye. Get to stepping. Get to stepping. Get out of there. So he needed to go bye-bye. He's out bye-bye. And I never really watched Fox News to begin with. But since he's now gone, things hopefully improve. Scroll. I don't know if you guys heard about this or not, but supposedly Bill Clinton got a case of the crud. Was it just, no, it was not critical. Stop. I think he was out, just doing stuff and, he did not fall in critical. Stop that sound guy. Okay, I don't think he went out and got chomped either. I think it was just a case of he caught the crud. Sure. Anyway, so
ouch, that really hurt.
I don't believe that's the case. I think what happened was essentially he's an old guy. He got some infection or something or other, and he was hospitalized, treated, and he's not looking particularly good, man. I mean, come on. I mean, let me pull this one up here. This one is notable, okay? Definitely notable. I mean, Bill's looking a little bit rough. Let me see if I can't find the picture here real fast. He's not looking his best, and that's putting it mildly. He's He's definitely looking like the years have worn on him more than just a little bit here. Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to say it, but Bill's not looking great, man. I mean, come on, that's like, okay, he's not a young guy anymore. I mean, come on. I mean, right now, Bill is what towing 78. So he's 78. He's lived a rougher life than most people, I'm tempted to think, okay? But Bill's definitely not taking the smoother road, shall we say. Scrolly. This one kind of cracked me up. There's been a news story going on now that AOC had to tell everybody publicly, look, I'm not knocked up, okay? I'm not. I just ate a lot of food at Thanksgiving. It just happens. I tend to think maybe she's stress eating. Yeah, excuse me 1 second here. So I'm thinking she's eating like that, eating like a pig, because she lost her chance of greatness with obviously a second term of Joe Kaka running things. And if anybody really truly cared if she was knocked up, I don't know why, other than maybe it's a case of, the semi-cute chick that now looks plump. I think that's maybe about the only way you could see that one as being like a news story. It's like, the semi-cute chick now looks plump. There's a news story out and about, some other deviancy and what have you, but I'm not going to pull that out of my Facebook. If you guys want to see that one, I post that one up on Christmas Eve, but yipes, really, really creepy story. Speaking of creepy stories, delusional has-been liberal headcase is completely losing his S-hit yet again. Disney Star Wars star Mark Hamill is completely losing it because Trump won. Quote, I was devastated when he won. Dude, your opinion was one of 330 million. You made it when you voted. Shut up. Nobody cares what you have to say further, okay? You basically are somebody famous that's utilizing your fame, and you think you have bigger opinions because you're famous does not make you that much more notable. Scrolly. This one is completely badass, and I've lost too many good people to the big C. So there's now a news story out from Truth Press, and they are saying that they are getting results by working on cancer using light. So, truthpress.com, scientists have destroyed 99% of cancer cells in a laboratory using vibrating molecules. So, using these molecules, they will find themselves by able to, do things. So anyway, let's see, getting into the news story here. Rice University scientists have discovered a novel way to fight cancer by using what they call molecular jackhammers. So the molecules are vibrating when they are catalyzed by light. Translation, when light is hitting them, they start going, and they start working. So the 2023 study published by Nature reported that a 50% tumor-free efficacy in mouse models for melanoma was achieved. The method has a 99% efficacy against lab cultures of human melanoma cells, and half the mice with the melanoma tumors remain cancer-free after treatment, Rice University stated, then explained. The researchers found that the atoms of the small dye molecule used for medical imaging, called an aminocyanine molecule, can vibrate in unison, forming what is known as a plasmon, when stimulated by near-infrared light, causing the cell membranes of cancerous cells to rupture. That's kind of cool. So, whole new generation of molecular machines that we call molecular jackhammers, Rice chemist James Torr explained. They are more than 1 million times faster in a mechanical motion than the former Faringa-type motors, and they can be activated with near-infrared light rather than visible light. So, near-infrared is really kind of cool, too, because near-infrared is far more successful at entering the body versus visible light, and thus does not damage nearby tissue as severely. So, nearby infrared light can go as deep as 10 centimeters or 4 inches into the human body as opposed to only half a centimeter or, basically, was it 20 millimeters, 0.2 inches? Half a centimeter, it's 10 millimeters, okay? Half a centimeter, it's actually 12 and a half. So it's 12, so it's just under half an inch. So human body is opposed to only half a centimeter. The depth of penetration for visible light, which we use to activate the nanodrills. It is a huge advance. These molecules are simple dyes that people have been using for a long time. They're biocompatible, stable in water, very good at attaching themselves to the fatty outer lining of cells. But even though they're being used for imaging, people did not know how to activate these plasmons. Due to their structure and chemical properties, the nuclei of these molecules can oscillate in sync when exposed to the right stimulus. Translation, you basically microwave in the little boogers. So this is the first time a molecular plasmon was utilized in this way to excite the whole molecule and actually produce mechanical action used to achieve a particular goal, in this case, tearing apart cancer cells' membranes. All cool stuff. So let's say, basically, you use this thing on melanoma, which tends to hopefully be a surface type of cancer. Hopefully you're cooking that little bastard and doing minimal damage to the people. I would love to see that being something that works all over the place. Let's see. Scroll. I have a lot of memes up. Obviously, we have to hoist ourselves one, even though he was not on our side of the aisle, he was a president of these United States, and we give honor, credence, and remember one of our absent companions, James Earl Carter Jr., 39th President of these United States. Sir, and absent companions, we commend you. Let's see. Scroll. Scroll. So this is kind of one of those disgusting things that you really, truly can only really ever count on from the left side of the aisle. It's kind of really disgusting. So these guys just get crappy. Carter passed away, and the flags will show proper decorum to a dead president. However, those on the left think it's cool that Trump will be sworn in under a half-flag status. They only understand half the reason it happens. Well, they never miss an opportunity to act and go petty and act like complete assholes when it's something they see as a win. It is pathetic. They lost the House, the Senate, and the presidency, but it's cool that Carter died to make Trump look bad. So essentially what it is they're saying something to the effect of, hey, good one, President Carter. Thanks for taking one for the team and going out in, a bang, so Trump has to be sworn in under, a half-flag status. Also, Mrs. Dude told me earlier that there's now been people going on and stating that Trump is saying, oh, they shouldn't be half-staffed. They should be all the way up when I'm getting sworn in. I don't think Trump would be so stupid and insensitive to say something like that at the time where you basically have a president who now is interred in the rotunda for his time and respect and decorum of being at half-flag status. That's respectful, and that's how you do stuff. I don't think Trump would ever say something that bloody damn ignorant, and it's only something stupid that somebody on the left would insert saying, see, Orange Man doesn't even give respect to a guy who's dead on the other side of the aisle. I don't think Trump would ever say something like that. Scroll. I got a lot of memes here. I'm being snarky. This one I think is absolutely beyond hilarious. This is one of those ignorant things that could come truly only from those people who watch way too many videos and think that they are the guys who change things around simply by making a public opinion on things. So, I cannot do this justice. This is absolutely hilarious. Coming in from AMLN.com, Democrat influencers propose that Congress ignore the election and start a civil war. They seem to forget that rednecks with guns were the guys that basically fought off the British. Anyway, so, quote, Congress has the power to block Trump from taking office, but lawmakers must act now. Opinion contributors to The Hill, Evan A. Davis and David M. Schulte, asserted on the Thursday screed, advocating the representatives of the people ignore the will of the people expressed in the November election, both electorally and popularly. Their reason, quote, disqualification based on insurrection against the Constitution, not the government. The evidence against Donald Trump engaging in such insurrection is overwhelming. Oh, man. So these guys think that it would literally only work if Congress did not swear that, okay, these are the election results, and oh yeah, he is now certified as the president of these United States. I got bad news for you. If you folks really, truly don't know history, and truthfully, you really, truly need to crack a book, because the reason for the Civil War was not because of slavery. It was because of states' rights, and it was because of basically putting all kinds of tariffs on where the North would stick the South, and the South was like, look, we're an agrarian society. We're not an industrial-based society. You can't pull these things and think that we're just going to basically knuckle under. So anybody that knows history knows the War of Northern Aggression was not because of slavery. And also, the Emancipation Proclamation didn't free all the slaves. It only freed some of the slaves. And if you read the Emancipation Proclamation, you'll realize that Lincoln only kicked loose the people who were in the areas where it would benefit his buddies. So Lincoln was not the guy that freed the slaves. Literally, it was people that came after him. Scrolly. This is hilarious to me, but supposedly Honduras is threatening to evict the U.S. from key military bases over looming mass deportations. I only got one thing to say to you, chick. Fine by me. We'll also stop sending you money. You'll get no support and no further unconditional aid. Keep your people there. Yeah, if you have such a problem with reaccepting your dispossessed people who trying to claim, that they have such political insurrection against them that they had to claim, I had to come to this country to find safety. Well, anytime that you do that, you don't seek it 5, 10, 15, 20 countries over. You do it the next country over. That's how that one happens. You don't come to, Mexico and then jump the border to Estados Unidos going, hey, I'd like to become safe here because I'm a political victim of oppression. Doesn't work like that, Slick. You get to go back to your country until such time that we accept you for entry. This is the other one that's kind of really yummy about the, oh, man, it just keeps coming and coming about the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
Got shot.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about.
Fact check.
No, not on this one. Not on this one at all. TruthPress.com. I have yet another story about the mRNA COVID vaccine. Yipes, folks! It was just bad witches brew. It really, really was. Give me 1 second here. So, coming on TruthPress.com, the FDA-led peer-reviewed study uncovers alarming DNA contamination in Pfizer's mRNA COVID vaccine. Yeah. So a group of high school students in Centerville High School in Virginia, in collaboration with the FDA, has uncovered, students in high school found this, has uncovered alarming DNA contamination in both Pfizer's experimental and commercial mRNA COVID-19 shots. Yeah. So the peer-reviewed study, published in the Journal of High School Science on December 29, has sparked renewed debate over vaccine manufacturing standards and quality control processes. Yipes. So the kids found this. The researchers, led by Tyler Wang, Alex Kim, and Kevin Kim, developed a novel method to detect replication-competent DNA impurities in the FDA's own facility and White Oak campus, the Children's Health Disease reported. Yipe. So their technique involved extracting DNA from vaccine samples, ligating it into a circular form, then transforming it into Escherichia coli cells. Yeah, so E. coli cells. The transformation results in antibiotic-resistant bacteria colonies. It indicates the presence of replication-competent DNA, which should ideally be absent or minimal in final vaccine product. Translation: they made a bug-proof bug. Yipes. So the findings are based on analysis of 2 separate lots of Pfizer's mRNA vaccines, including monovalent and bivalent formulations. It's bad stuff, man. So the students uncovered a significant level of DNA contamination in the vaccines, with the samples exceeding the World Health Organization threshold by up to 470 times. Yipes! The amount of residual DNA detected ranged between 40 to 110 nanograms per dose. Ew. While no replication-competent DNA was detected in commercial Pfizer vaccine batches, can't talk today. Smaller DNA fragments, approximately 35 base pairs in length, were consistently present. Ew. So they got the crud in the crud. Ew. Oh, no. Icky poo. Ew. I post up a link on my Facebook page, but I cannot do this justice. Watching Kamala Harris certify that Donald Trump was the president. I mean, can you imagine running, losing, and then having to certify the election results? Ouch. Ouch. I mean, that's just no, sound guy. It's really just yeah, it's yes. Oh, that cat's mad. Anyway, so yeah, that was just standing up there and doing all that. I'm sure she was thinking,
But I pooped from there.
okay, and that was probably after sucking up a few brews and yeah, that was just brutal. Freaking brutal. Scrolly. Supposedly the AFT director has announced in his resignation. Rats off a sinking ship. F Chuck you, buddy. F Chuck you. I'll hope that you never work another government job ever again. I don't know if you saw this one or not, but supposedly one of the GOP senators was sworn in. The husband was holding the Bible. She placed her hand on and did the whole, do you swear to affirm and defend the Constitution of the United States? Yes. But I would have answered back, so help me God. But she just said yes. But supposedly she shook the new senator's hand, and then she turned and tried to shake the husband's hand, and he just said, yeah, thank you. He refused. He wasn't having it. He was not having it with Kamala. Wow. The control freak, creepy liberal asshole, also known as that Mother Zucker that runs Facebook, has now stated that, well, there's going to be less censorship on Facebook as he scraps the biased third-party fact-checkers. There's news stories coming out now who actually funded the fact-checkers, and folks, it is absolutely sketch. Beyond sketch. So, I guess now I won't have to worry about catching, these little stupid banners popping up going, we found this, and we think that this is it, and here's we found it. Go away. Go away. Speaking of go away, I know now who is the half a man that was on the TV show 2.5 Men. Whiny boy here, also known as actor John Cryer, says that Kamala Harris had lost the election because Americans, quote, hate black women. You, sir, are a liberal ass. And I do mean of the highest order. Wow. No other way to state it except for simply what it is. You, sir, are that bloody blanking obtuse. And you know what? You basically made your voice heard, one of 330 million. You made your opinion, okay? That's literally what it is. You made your opinion by voting. Just because you're like a public figure doesn't mean you get to have a larger opinion. You know, opinions are kind of like assholes. Everybody's got one. Ugh. Speaking of one, might be bigger than the other. Oh, okay. Coming up on music time. Guys, hanging out with me tonight on a special occasion of being back after 2 weeks. I truly appreciate your kind attention. You get a gold star for attendance. Thank you so much. I will see you next week. Hopefully, unless something silly happens. But I'm now hopefully not doing this only on my phone. But I decided to do it this time because the computer was acting a little weird. And I didn't want to have it dropping out doing stupid stuff. So I decided to just simply do it this way for continuity. And I truly appreciate your kind attention. You guys hanging out with me. You got many other things to do on a Tuesday, but you hung out with me. And I thank your kind attention. So I'm going to break off of this one. So eat good, kids, and rings. Always, you know it. You love it. I will see you next week. Good stuff like that there. And I will see you then. Catch you guys later. Have a good one. And here it is.